So there are a couple of key trends in California clean energy that we talk about a lot at my work. One is this requirement to find clean energy sources that we can use during, times of day when people are using a lot of energy, at night when there's no solar panel generation happening. And it's really started to turn into this desire to acquire more energy battery storage. And so we've been working on a procurement process and actually have signed some contracts recently for some large battery storage units, which has been really exciting.
Storage is coming down in cost the same way that solar did in the early 2000s. When we see that inflection point of storage costs getting to an economies of scale rock bottom, we're going to start seeing the deployment of much more storage capacity that allows for that solar energy to be utilized further into the night, I will say. The technology of storage is slightly more complex than getting electrons from a photovoltaic panel. And so you have a lot of different battery chemistries. It's not just in some cases it is like strapping together millions of little Duracell batteries on the lithium ion side of things. However, other newer chemistries are evolving.
The two biggest trends that I see from the work that we're doing every day and some of the conversations we're having in the renewable energy field are the deployment of electric vehicles and EVSEs, which is also electric vehicle charging stations, essentially. There's a lot of growth. There's a lot of legislation around the implementation of more electric vehicle charging stations so that we can create the infrastructure for the deployment of electric vehicles.
EVs can also help during power outages by allowing the utility to draw backup power from your EV battery. So instead of the charge going to your car, it goes back to the grid. And so by tapping a large number of EV batteries for a short amount of time, the utility can keep that power flowing while it repairs the generator or locates an alternative generator.
Second big trend is around a resilient grid. So making sure that our power is not only clean, but it's always available when we need it to be. In California, we have wildfires, and wildfire season is expanding more and more, and utilities are having to shut off the power for safety reasons. And in other parts of the country, there are many other types of natural disasters, such as hurricanes, tornadoes, floods, and even cyber attacks, non-natural disasters. So keeping a resilient grid that is also clean is a growing trend.
One of the biggest and most important is making advancements with the utility grid to incorporate microgrids and mini grids. So I define a microgrid as a system that has some sort of energy generating source. Solar is the most popular, and then also storage. And this stands apart from the grid so that when we do experience outages or have planned outages, we can segment the grid into smaller grids.
We're really moving away from fossil fuels, specifically natural gas, and in some ways, that's really, really great. In terms of a carbon footprint, that's awesome. But in terms of building systems, it does require us to really re-envision how we run our buildings, because most buildings have quite a heavy natural gas component. So understanding that those changes are coming and really planning for those in the future in your new construction becomes really, really important for anyone who wants to work in energy efficiency.
And then finally, the third challenge that I mentioned was second life for EV batteries. And this is super interesting because it's actually at the intersection of energy and the circular economy. So EV batteries have a super tough life. They typically are designed to perform at max capacity for the first 5 years. So once you retire your EV car, what do you do with the battery? So you have a couple of options. Manufacturers can dispose of it, recycle the valuable materials, or reuse it. So reuse can actually provide the most value in markets where there's demand for batteries for stationary energy storage applications that require less frequent battery cycling. So it's super exciting to see that, EV batteries just don't need to stay in your car. There's a second life for it beyond.